all that, whatever I said, it did not get recorded. My fault.
With the word bhu, he stands in fire, in the air, in the shape of bhuva, as swaha in the sun, in the Brahman as maha. He obtains self-effulgence. He obtains lordship over minds. He becomes the Lord of speech, Lord of the eyes, Lord of the ears, the Lord of the knowledge. Then he becomes this Brahman, whose body is space, whose nature is truth, who sports in dynamic life, prana, whose mind is bliss, and who is full of peace, who is immortal. Thus, O descendant of ancient yoga, culture, meditate.
I just realized I didn't do the prayer.
Oh, yes. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, my mind is not all together today, looks like. Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karva Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatyarma Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanma Vavatu Tat Vaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah, now you can read.
Are you going to explain something? That's why I stopped.
Oh, no. I think that you didn't read the first verse.
No, I haven't. I just read the commentary. Okay. I can read in the last section. That's what I'm going to read now. Okay. I read prior to that.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. In the last section, yes. Go ahead with that.
In the last section, the meditation was upon the Vyahartis, which were regarded there as the words, as the world, the luminaries, the pranas, etc. And here, the object of contemplation is upon the intelligent, ever-shining soul. Earlier, we are told that the meditator would, as a result of his upasana, become identified with the total mind, while here, the very meditation is directly upon Brahman, endowed with attributes. Saguna Brahma.
So, as I said, that they are starting with those vihartis at the worldly level, and then luminaries, and all that pranas and all that, because all those things are important to the student. Then they are taking it higher and higher, to the ever shining soul, and now directly under Brahman, endowed with the attributes, Saguna Brahma.
In the previous meditation, the fruit is described as the devas offer tribute, while here the meditator attains lordship and independent sovereignty and gets himself established in one or other aspects of the total mind, which he may happen to desire at the culmination of his existence in his present mortal coils. Thus, evidently, sections 5 and 6 together constitute one form of meditation whose various aspects have been dealt with in two stages, in the two sections.
So, basically, जो पहले वाला verse था, उसमें उन्होंने बोला कि the devas will bow down to you, and then now you're going yourself becoming a deva. Or like somebody was saying that, you want to get some job done, and you थोड़ी इसको सिफारिश की, उसको की, some government people, and then, president को भी कर दी, लेकिन तुम खुद बन गए president तो then you can do whatever. So trying to take you to that level that तुम ही बन जाओ. फिर तुमको किसी को सिफारिश करने की जरूरत नहीं, तुम ही कर सकते हो.
Since this under discussion is a continuation of the last, the style becomes too cryptic, and therefore it is not easy to coax the words to yield their meaning directly to us. Even the acharyas, who had brought into their discussions a vast amount of the subtlest intellect, could not give us a ready explanations of these mantras. Without supplementing words and ideas to fill, as it were, the blanks in this passage. Yawning gulfs separate idea from idea, and within the section there seems to be many an unbridgeable gap, which would have been better understood and more palatable had they been separate sections.
So I told you, बीच में एकदम उन्होंने वो डाल दिया, how the jiva quits the body. What is the connection? तो उन्होंने बोला don't worry, जो बड़े बड़े महात्माज है वो लोग को भी कभी कभी they don't know, and then they are bringing some untold things, and because they have a much more insight, because जिसने सारे शास्त्र पढ़े होंगे और समझे होंगे और उस पर contemplation किया, he will be lot more kind of equipped, जैसे वो science में भी they have to continuously keep reading everything, then you have a better idea कि क्या बोल रहा है कोई. So इनको ज़्यादा समझ में आएगा. But Swamiji gave a pretty interesting why they put that whole thing in there, just उनकी curiosity को शांत करने के लिए उन्होंने बीच में डाल दिया ये. So we have to just go with that.
I guess it's the same way as with Geeta then. We're learning what after death or at the time of death. So are we learning that same here also?
Interesting, right? Right. Yeah. There's always synergy happens, right? Synergy happens. Yeah. Yes. Mm.
Now we have to accept the section as it stands. It expresses the object of meditation, the imaginary path of departure of the egocentric consciousness from one physical equipment to its own self-decided, fresh woods and pastures new. The fruits of constant contemplation upon the different ideas prescribed in the earlier section, and lastly, the section is rounded up with passionate call to the worthy descendant of hallowed Sanatana Dharma, Prachina Yoga, to meditate continuously and thus grow in his mental amplitude and intellectual stature.
So,
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying the word is Prachin Yogya. So Prachin is Purana जिसको बोलते हैं ना, तो मतलब हमारी जो पुरानी धरोहर है, सनातन धर्म की, उसको passionate call to the we all are descendants of it.
Yes. Okay, Prachin, yes.
Yeah, so now you got the context, right? और अभी स्वामी जी बताएंगे कि there are some commentators of this Taittriya Upanishad, प्राचीन योग्य से ऐसा कुछ लिया है उसमें. मेरे को संस्कृत वगैरह ठीक से आती नहीं है, लेकिन उसको ना किसी का नाम भी बोला गया है. ये प्राचीन योग्य is a name of an individual. You will see. But anyway, the other meaning fits better in my mind, that we are all descendants of it and we should follow this.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, are you going to explain a little bit of it before I continue?
I think that I already did, because Swamiji is going to explain in detail now, because there are 4 aspects, right? The object of meditation, the path of departure, fruit that we get, and then passionate call to follow this, yeah.
Okay. We shall try to go into these 4 ideas one by one. The object of contemplation here is the conscious life principle, which is described in this section as having its abode in the cave of the heart. The educated young man is sure to protest against this crude statement of ignorance that the heart has got a cave, while the day's prophets of biology are daily opening up hearts with their scissors and scalpels to declare and to illustrate that there are no holes in the heart.
So I think that, when Swamiji probably came to teach Vedanta to this educated, because he was English speaking also, no? So he was, and जो die hard जिन्होंने कभी वेदांत पढ़ा नहीं था और वो engineering और ये सब की डिग्री लेके वहाँ बैठे होंगे, What do you mean by the cave of the heart? Heart is just like, they just focus 100% on that physical pump. So then they get so confused, and then I remember there was like some heart surgeons were even discussing that, hey, what do they mean by this cave of a heart? When we do heart surgery, हमको तो कोई cave wave दिखाई नहीं देती उसमें. Yeah, in the Kathopanishad, when he said that Angushta Matra, that was just a symbol of that
Right.
Brahman. And people, till today, they are looking for that and say, oh, Atma to ek अंगूठी की तरह होती है जो यहाँ पर चमकती है and all. I've heard that kind of statement from people because they take the literal meaning. So when you take literal meaning, it becomes a disaster. So it's so important to understand through this Mahatma, what are they trying to say? Because it's a subtle subject.
That's why we need a guru or a teacher.
Yeah, but they say Upanishad, you cannot learn on your own. True. Absolutely, yeah.
In the lyrical poetry, which is the very language of the Aryan thought, they did not mean the pumping organ when they used the term heart. But what they meant by the term is the noble sentiments and the divine emotions which the humanity in man is capable of expressing in his transactions with the world outside. The nobility of thought, the purity of the emotions, the softness of sentiments, the glorious attributes of love, tolerance, mercy, and kindness, these expressed by a man in his life constitute the heart of his personality.
So firstly, Swamiji is explaining that in Vedanta, when they talk about heart, they're not talking about the pumping organ, but they are talking about the divine emotions and all which bubble in us. So I was thinking of it this way. इसमें से कोई भी चीज express हो रही हो ना हमारे में से, love, tolerance, mercy, kindness. So just remember, God is expressing through us. And कुछ opposite हो रहा हो ना, तो हमारा ego express हो रहा है. When we are angry and frustrated and unkind and all that. So that all you can look at it too.
I know we can look at it, but on the other hand, God is everything when you say. And his
Okay.
expression is everything.
Very good question. So then, hey, can I say that anger and frustration, all that is God? It's like, the God has given you a pure ingredient and you have made a kachra out of it and now you're thoping on the God. That's what we are doing. So, like, how this was explained? It was explained by Shri Ravi Shankar the best way. He said that हमारे में जितने भी विकार आते हैं ना, उसका जो base है ना, that all is love only. That when you have a greed, when जब उसमें विकृति आ जाती है, some kind of modification and what is the English term when something becomes like not so good? There is an English term that's not coming to me. Degenerate हो जाती है कोई चीज, that exact word. When it comes, I'll tell you. So that's what has happened when the other, like anger. What is anger? Right? It's a desire.
Right.
Not fulfilled.
Desire. I mean, there's an obstruction to obtaining the desire, whatever it is.
But it's like desire is like, So the base of it is a very good, thing which is like cave of the heart. Everything is very sweet and beautiful and nice, but it has become contaminated with our thoughts. So it's like a water is dirty. On one hand, it is H2O. Yes. But then there are things that have gotten into it. In fact, Swamiji was explaining that actually that thing is always separate because you can separate the water from the dirt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's from that angle you have to say that on one hand everything is Bhagwan, but if you want Bhagwan in its purity, then it's all those good things only. Other things we have mixed dirt in it.
Okay.
Hari Om Uma ji.
Haan.
Yeah, all these 5 vikar, we are using them outwards. We have to use them inwards. कि बोलते हैं ना काम क्रोध लोभ मोह अहंकार, तो बोलते कामना मीन्स इच्छा, तो इच्छा करे तो प्रभु पाने की करे, क्रोध करे तो खुद पे करे कि मैं ऐसा बिहेवियर क्यों करता हूँ, या इस राह पे स्पिरिचुअल राह पे क्यों नहीं मेरी उन्नति हो रही है. क्रोध लोभ मीन्स लोभ भी करे, ग्रीडीनेस भी, और मैं जानूं स्पिरिचुअल पाथ को और जानूं. काम क्रोध लोभ मोह, मोह भी करें तो उस परमात्मा से करें. That consciousness, not we were using all these outwards, and we
Beautiful.
have to
Yes.
use them
Yeah. No, that's a very good
inward.
angle. Very good. Excellent. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you
That
for
is
sharing that. Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very nice. Yeah.
The Vedantic tradition is that in this heart there is a cave, and in the cave is the seat of true intelligence. That is to say, in the poetic language of the Vedas, they only meant that a full man is he who discriminates and rationalizes the life and happenings in it through an intellect functioning in the fresh atmosphere of a pure heart. A mere intellect is considered everywhere as an efficient annihilator of joy.
So here, Swamiji is telling you that logic and means mind and not mind, sorry, the क्या बोलना चाहिए, emotions and pure logic. वो दोनों का ऐसा कुछ मिक्सचर होना चाहिए. जो प्योर लॉजिशियंस होते हैं ना, दे कंप्लीटली गेट लॉस्ट and they make themselves very dukhi and the people around them dukhi, you know. And then he was going to give example in this world जिन्होंने एकदम डिस्ट्रक्शन वगैरह मचाया, ये सब किया ना, ये जो हिटलर टाइप के लोग, वैसे वो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट थे और उनकी बातों में उनका अपना कुछ एक स्ट्रेन सा लॉजिक था, बट दे डिडंट पास देयर लॉजिक थ्रू देयर हार्ट, यू नो. फॉर बेस्ट एग्जांपल इज कि मैंने सत्य बोलना चाहिए, बहुत सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है, राइट? And then समझो, like we used to give that example, you know, somebody comes in your home with some clothes and say, oh, क्या पहन के आई है, you know. Say, मैं तो सत्य बोल रही हूँ because that's how I'm feeling, so I have to tell the सत्य. So, hey, why are you hurting that person's feeling, you know? जरूरी नहीं है कि कोई चीज, हर एक चीज को सत्य में बोलो, मीठा भी बोलो, और जरूरी है तो बोलो, किसी का फायदा होता है तो बोलो, तो फिर उसको ना वो सत्य को उसकी कसौटी से डाल के फिर बोलो. You know, कड़वा सत्य को बोलने के लिए only few exceptions are given. किसी की जान जा रही हो, वो मरने वाला हो, तो उसको कुछ बताना हो तो बात ठीक है. You know, for your regular thing, you should not be using these things to hurt somebody. So that's what they're talking about, the passing your logic and all through the heart.
So at this point, do you just keep quiet, or do you tell it's a lie or something? Okay, something that you don't enjoy, okay? But you have to, you either keep quiet or say the fact as is.
So that's why
And
I was
that
saying that वो fact
maybe
अगर, if it is going to do किसी का फायदा होता है, you say it. But if it's just a statement that you want to express your ego, then don't say it. I think that intuition will come at the right time if we have the pure heart. Because once in a while, even the Mahatmas tell you a lot of kadvi baatein. They're not trying to hurt you; they're trying to wake you up. So they know when to say the kadvi baat. You know?
Yeah, but not to tell a lie. मतलब कि एक होता है कि अच्छा, it's a white lie, छोटा है, बता दे, कोई बात नहीं, कह दे, आप बहुत ही सुंदर लग रहे हो रे, चाहे उनके मन में कुछ और हो, लेकिन कह दिया बहुत ही सुंदर लग रहे हो. Now, if I just kept quiet at that point and not said it, then I'm not disturbed with myself, though I'm not saying anything to the other person, but I'm sure the other person would be very, very happy if I had said
So
those
I mean,
words.
I don't need to say it like just to किसी को चढ़ाने के लिए या to get some brownie points to earn that, you know, आप बहुत सुंदर लग रहे हैं. But suppose एक scenario, a person is very depressed, you know, and then I'm telling her a white lie. I'm trying to break her depression. But ऐਵੇਂ ही सभी को बोलते जाओ, oh, आप तो बहुत सुंदर लग रहे हो, बहुत सुंदर लग रहे हो, just because you are trying to gain some point. See what I'm saying? So that subtle intelligence will come to you, that when to use it.
Automatically. Yeah.
There was one example. A mother gives a child bitter medicine, which makes him cry, but she has to give it to make him well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So in that instance, even if we have to lie to make somebody well or somebody escape some danger, then it's well worth it.
And that lie is not like कोई बहुत बड़ी हानि नहीं हो रही है उससे, कि you are telling a lie about something else. So I think that judgment, that's exactly what I think what Swamiji means by mixing the heart and the intellect together. Bhakti or
I have
Gyan.
one example.
Yeah.
Somebody told me about a book which is called If I Only Knew. This is I don't know if I mentioned this before or not.
I don't remember.
But this is the way how the other half thinks. So in that they described, how you answer questions. So I went to my sister's and she made a very, very bad food. And she asked me, how is it? So should I tell the lie or should I tell the truth? So once I read that book, I said, let's put it this way, nobody can gain weight in your house.
See, it depends on that. See, this is how I would say. You know your sister very well. Your sister can be extremely sensitive, or the other one, you can say something and they say, forget it, So then, depending on that, see how many factors are involved. If I know a sister who's going to be like totally heartbroken, then I will not say, it's okay, yeah, it's a good food, fine. And I might go home and eat. By the way, my sisters are great cooks. So this example is, I crave for their food. Huh? Yeah.
There are good lies and bad lies.
So I think it depends. See how many factors are there, but what you will do, basically you will try to keep harmony. I think that's what our teacher told us, and that was a very powerful thing. She said in families, try to create harmony. Like usually family के अंदर दो जन लड़ रहे हैं ना, तो सब फटाफट साइड लेना शुरू कर देते हैं. ओ या ये सही है वो गलत है. Actually दोनों का मिक्स ही होता है. जितने भी झगड़े जुगड़े जो भी होते हैं वो.
I remember, I don't remember exactly what Ramakrishna said, but there was a situation, one of his disciples, to speak the truth, he told some guy some relative had died. And he made them very upset.
Right.
So I think Ramakrishna gave him some advice. I have to look that up, what he said.
I'm sure he said something very, very profound. And so all of these things, are not in a fixed box. That's why you need that heart and intellect both together, blending of it. And the two wings of the same bird, with one only wing is strong, other one is not, you're not going to be able to fly. You'll go in circles.
Yeah.
So you have to develop both. So, yeah.
Yeah, even for meditation, etc.
Yes.
There have to be both of them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah, if you don't have that softness in the heart and the love and the bhakti in it, you won't be able to do it.
Yes. The Vedantic tradition is that in this, did I read this?
I think you read it, right? Yeah, you read it. Yeah.
No, I didn't because yes, I did.
You say annihilator of joy, yeah.
Yes.
So Ravana and them.
Okay. Ravana in the Ramayana and the Hitlers and Mussolinis of our own days are examples of the intellect divorced from the heart, emitting death and disaster to others, and ultimately bringing down fire and brimstone upon themselves. Such a crude intellect can serve us only in the fields of modern politics, economics, and objective sciences. But the touch of the genius, the blessings of the divine glory, can never be achieved by such activities of an intellect unless it is efficiently courted by a healthy and evolved heart.
So see what he's saying? That, these people, like, we know that Ravan was a very intelligent person, very highly accomplished and everything, but divorced from the heart. That's what happened to him. And then, he's saying that, okay, ठीक है, modern science और ये सब में चल जाएगा तुम्हारा logic. Agar if you want some genius, and if you see anybody, like, Einstein को देख लो, उसका क्या status है science में, right? And he had a strong spirituality aspect in him. He talked about God and all so much, So जो एकदम height पे पहुंच जाता है ना, वो blending की वजह से पहुंचता है, दोनों भी.
Ravan was at the height. He was very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable. He had control over everything in a sense कि उसने सारे नवग्रह को भी अपने कंट्रोल, फिजिकल चीजों को सब उसने किया था, लेकिन उसका मन उसके कंट्रोल में नहीं था. That is everything.
Yeah. The glory of a Buddha or a Mahatma Gandhi is that they could bring about in their own times a certain amount of social revival and political integrity, no doubt with well thought of and highly intellectual schemes and plans of activity, but their work seems to be more noble and divine than the achievements of the Napoleons and Hitlers, inasmuch as the intellect in them functioned through the medium of a full-grown and evolved heart.
So now he gave the example of Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, and all these people. उनको अभी तक लोग, इतना याद करते हैं and all that, and they made a big difference. But as the others, you just remember them with death and destruction. Hitler, ये जो भी हैं, So he's just saying that because they had this full-grown, evolved heart, and the most famous story of Mahatma Gandhi that we tell the children, that to drive a point that this one guy in the ashram, जो उनके जो सहयोगी थे वो लेके आए, बोले ये गांधी जी ये चोरी कर रहा था आदमी, इसको पनिशमेंट दो, आप ही दे सकते हो. तो गांधी जी ने बोला अच्छा अभी खाने का टाइम है सब, तो इसको भी बिठाओ खाना खिलाओ. एंड दैट चोर वाज लाइक व्हाट, पनिशमेंट की जगह मुझे खाना दे रहे हैं. And बाकी लोग like they don't want to say anything to him because it's like he was a boss of that place. So उसको खाना वाना दिया. इतने देर में तो वो चोर इतना मेल्ट हो गया ना, चरणों में पड़ गया, बोला कि मेरे को पता नहीं था ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं. And then other people said कि अरे आप उसको खाना क्यों खिला रहे हैं, उसको पनिशमेंट देना चाहिए था. तो बोले क्या चोर को भूख नहीं लगती है क्या, उससे बात करूंगा मैं, जरा उसको खाना वाना खिला दो फिर उससे बात करूंगा क्या कर रहा था वो. उतने देर में उसको ही प्रायश्चित हो गया खुद ही को. And then somebody either shared it or I read it somewhere that that Nelson Mandela from that place, what you call Africa, who was jailed for like 30, 40, some majority part of his life he was in the jail. And Bharat and I have gone to that place. We have seen the jail also in South Africa, in Cape Town. And then recently or whenever, the guy who used to torture him,
Yes.
he told him to come and have a meal with him, Nelson
Right.
Mandela. Can you believe that? I mean, these kind of examples are there in today's world. बाकी लोग तो उससे इतना नाराज होंगे और इतना मतलब उसकी शक्ल भी नहीं देखना चाहेंगे, the girl. And he did that because he said, that was that time and now it's different. And I don't want to hold anything against because he was given the orders to do it and that's why he was doing it or whatever. I don't know. But the large heart, like he has an evolved heart.
Thus, it is only in the room of the skeleton that the psychologist comes to insist that the heart is the pumping organ in the bosom of living creatures. But even in our colleges, if we walk from the laboratory to the library, we can find that thinkers and writers have a separate connotation for the term heart.
So, he's just saying that, if you go to completely pure science, then they will only focus on the pumping heart. But even if somebody is not spiritual, in you moment you talk about heart, bolte na, my heart is broken, usko fell in love and then the woman or man ran away and then heart is broken. So uska kya pump wala heart toot gaya kya? No. This is a term that the guy is heartbroken means he's just feeling mentally down, and or like उसी पोएट को बोलो वो क्या क्या बोलेगा हार्ट के बारे में, क्या क्या पोएट्री बना देगा. So that they're not even talking about the pumping heart anymore. They're talking about some entity in you that gets affected, right? And when you say about heart, you can't even say कि वो एक जगह पे स्थित है. जो स्पिरिचुअल हार्ट के बारे में बोल रहे हैं वो लोग, और पोएटिक हार्ट के बारे में बोल रहे हैं वो लोग. इट्स नॉट इवन लाइक अ थिंग, यू कैन नॉट गिव इट अ शेप एनीमोर. ये जरूरी है कि वो पंपिंग हार्ट में धड़कन वर्कन बढ़ जाती है इमोशन से. सो इट डज गेट अफेक्टेड दैट वे, व्हेन यू फियर और एनीथिंग लाइक दैट, टू मच इमोशन और लव और समथिंग.
Our rishis, scientists of living as they were, when they declared that the seat of an evolved intellect is the heart, only meant that an intellect functioning from the peaceful orbits of a fully grown love heart alone can perceive the unifying cord of life that binds all the variegated plurality into one great garland of love. Truth is experienceable only with an intellect when it is analyzing and observing, viewing and discriminating in the halls of the heart, where in the clean aroma of love it seems to gather a greater subtlety to meditate and to realize.
So beautiful poetic language में उन्होंने
Yes.
बोल दिया ना, कितना इससे better कोई नहीं बोल सकता. So anyway, whatever you were saying, even to meditate, you need that, some kind of love and that kind of feeling in your heart, and with that blending is called the fully grown heart. So on one hand, all that intellect and all this very, very important, and but it has to have this love around it to understand.
For a mantra or you do japa, if it's plain, it doesn't, then you don't feel anything.
Right. And you know what? Because now these YouTubes have become so popular, sometimes when some people sing the mantra, you can feel it. You know?
Yeah.
Because they have the bhakti in their heart. So how they sing it, it just pierces through your heart also then. When singing, some people do it, with the bhakti. Or the words also. Some people when they speak, some Mahatmas when they talk with so much love and passion and all that, then it comes out different, the same words.
Yeah. The imaginary path of departure, every grown-up, okay, this is the B, second part we are doing. The first one we did the object of meditation, now is the imaginary path of the four things, right? Of the four. This is the second one.
Right.
The imaginary path of departure. Every grown-up member of the present generation must have observed repeatedly the members of the last generation departing in peace, and necessarily, therefore, there can be no intelligent grown-up man who has not in himself come to ask the why and the how, and has not come to his own rough and ready explanation of this unavoidable and yet most painful of happenings known as death.
So he's just saying that everybody who is born over here is curious about the death. Yeah.
In his unscientific, rough and ready observations, he must have concluded that the dead body is the rejected covering of the dead one, and that some vital thing, as it were, has left every dead body. The body, while living, was reacting to the impulses provided by the world outside. It used to entertain feelings. It had its own ideas and thoughts, and perhaps it had some vague feelings or some prominent urgencies created by the restlessness of its soul. But the moment it is dead, it seems to function in none of those levels, and therefore any thinking person must have concluded that some essence or vitality has departed from that body.
So he's just saying that if you just don't know anything about anything, but if you just observe the world, then you will come to this conclusion that, hey, that, somebody's alive, so many things are happening. And he gave all these things, but that happens within us, that it ideas and thoughts and some vague feelings about ye karna hai, wo karna hai, jo bhi hai. So many impulses reacting to the world outside. And suddenly when the person is declared dead, everything stops. So he just feels that kuch na kuch to gaya hai iske body se, kya hai wo, and wo janna chahte hain wo, and then the Mahatmas gave them the explanation. Yeah. We can do another 1 or 2 paragraphs, and then this was so long. It's already 12:30. Let's do 2 more paragraphs and we'll stop.
Okay. This egocentric conscious living principle, the essence behind the sense organs, mind and intellect, the essence in whose divine presence the very matter-made container, the body, resists nature's law of decay, but surrenders itself to that law the moment this divine factor departs. If it thus gets itself divorced from one physical structure, then the layman would necessarily inquire to know which is the exit for the ego and life to pass out of the body.
So he said some very interesting thing, and we don't think about it that way. The egocentric conscious principle, the life principle, the essence behind the sense organs. We studied all that. What is this? Bhagwan only, Adi Yagna. Mind, intellect, the essence of whose divine presence makes the matter contain the body, resist the law of decay. I mean, मरने के बाद कितना जल्दी decay होता है, right? But while we are alive for whatever, 80, 90, 100 years, body chakachak chal rahi hai. Everything is happening. I mean, the switch is so fast, for a dead body versus saying that we don't think it like that, but I thought it was quite amazing. Uska power kitna hai, dekho, of that factor, that it keeps everything together and functioning and, amazing. Yeah.
That's why it is everything.
Yes.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When an uninitiated student reached the feet of the master in the olden days for purposes of his studies in Vedanta, the teacher had certainly a very subtle job for himself to do. Any student, when he entertains a doubt, cannot find the necessary mental peace and intellectual tranquility for active study or vigilant pursuits of knowledge until the agitating doubt has been dispelled by some explanation or other. Masters of psychology, as they were, the rishis, knew this, and they invariably cleaned all doubts with one myth or the other, which at that time would look seriously reasonable and fully explanatory to the student.
So Swamiji is just telling you that if students have any kind of doubt, and if the teacher doesn't dispel it, वो आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएगा. So I think that I'm wondering why Swamiji had to go in so much detail to explain. Because some people get caught up in it and they don't go beyond that. कि वो नाड़ी वगैरह को बैलेंस करना है, वो क्यों कर रहे हैं वो सब भूल जाते हैं. वो उसी में every day just doing that. I have a feeling that's why, because he's talking about this, this whole explanation that is given over here, that a sushumna nadi is there and the energy goes up and things like that. But if you just get caught into all that, there'll be a problem. But they came up with all these names and all these things, these imaginary channels. We are not saying that the energy doesn't go upward. That's not the point they're saying. But there is no fixed. Somebody cannot show in my body that, hey, here is a sushumna nadi. Like they can say a bone is there. I can see it. But ऐसे कुछ मिलेगा नहीं तुमको. So they are just giving you the explanation. That's all he's saying over here. That they came up with some ways to उनकी curiosity शांत करने के लिए. और ये सभी उपनिषद में वैसे ही बताया गया है. तो they came up with this whole formula how to talk about this. Exit of
without Shraddha, you can never learn anything.
True. But, here in Taittriya Upanishad, he's going in the more detail कि उन्होंने क्यों ऐसा बनाया. उसमें थोड़ा insight दे रहे हैं. It's something like when a child starts, like our Gaurang uncle used to give this explanation in Houston, that if a 2-year-old asks you, or 3-year-old, how does the rain happen? You're not going to sit there and tell him, whole osmosis thing, कि वो पानी वाष्प बन जाता है, ये है वो है. उधर एक एलिफेंट रहता है और वो अपनी सूंड से ऐसे पानी फेंकता है और बरसात होने लगती है. उसके लिए उतना ही ठीक है. Then as his intellect grows, you telling him more and more stuff, and by the time then he understands the science. So sometimes there are certain explanations that you have to just take it because they are appealing to the students who are not fully understand what Brahman is. So they have to give these kind of explanations. That's how we have to look at it.
No, but it is so true. One gets stuck because I know of myself. I get stuck with certain terms.
Right.
I get stuck with certain paragraphs. and I read and it doesn't make sense. But sometimes somebody else says something, you say, or somebody else says, and all of a sudden it hits the two. I can put the two together.
Yes. Until I get satisfied. Okay, now I can move forward. Yes, absolutely.
Otherwise, the doubt still keeps on bothering. It
Yes.
lingers on. It does.
So I think that is a very good point you made, and that's exactly how Bhagavad Gita is also. That Krishna Bhagwan ने अर्जुन को कभी भी ऐसा नहीं बोला कि तू इतना स्टूपिड क्वेश्चन क्यों पूछ रहा है, कभी नहीं बोला ऐसा. उसको जो भी था, जितना भी डाउट था, बहुत प्रेम से उन्होंने उसको समझाया, बिकॉज उसमें श्रद्धा तो थी लेकिन डाउट भी था. The truth is he had doubts. So and Krishna Bhagwan, it was very, very important, the whole technique, that until the doubt gets cleared, you cannot move forward. So the saints and sages, they have the ability to say the right thing at the right time to dispel his doubt.
Doubts, right. And different ways.
Different ways.
Instead of one way, they'll go and
absolutely
tell the other way.
Yeah, it's like if you have a class, like because I do the Chinmaya Mission class, every year, the texture of the class is different because the students have their own personality. So we have to tweak it according to what they are, and give the similar kind of example. जैसे last year जब अभी class graduate हुई ना 10th grade, उनमें एक दो sports buff थे boys. तो we used to always give the sports का example, तो वो उनको बड़ा याद रहता था. उन्होंने जो finally जो play भी किया ना to express their whatever they learned, the theme was sports only. Because उसी में उनको मजा आता है, वो लोग कभी नहीं भूलेंगे फिर सारे प्रिंसिपल्स को उसी में डाल के, और हमने बनाया वो प्ले. उन्होंने बच्चों ने काफ़ी कुछ किया, मगर so that's what it is, that they are trying to give you, dispel your doubt in your own way.
Yes. Should we stop here?
Yeah, let's stop here because we'll continue next time. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchitu kabhag bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.